Hello and welcome to the Daily Space. For today, how is it already this far into February? I think it's the 25th. I am your host, Dr. Pamela Gay, and I am here to put science in your brain. Today, we have a wide-ranging set of stories, and they all come to us from one world. And that one world is Mars. And I forgot to grab the device that actually will switch my slides, so there's going to be a moment of chaos here. I want that. All right. And somehow I lost that. All right. So, sorry for the confusion. Let's try this again. Hello and welcome to the Daily Space for today. How is it already February 25th, 2020? I am your host, Dr. Pamela Gay, and I am here to put science in your brains. Today we have a wide-ranging set of stories, and they all come to us from one world. Yesterday, we gently laughed at the silly and creative means that the Mars Insight team is using to try and get their mole back to burrowing. Today, as they're trying to overwrite all the Mars mole frustrations with good news, the Insight team has completely buried us in science results. This flood of information comes to us thanks to a special issue of Nature Geoscience that focuses on Mars. The results you are most likely to hear about today are the Mars quakes measured by InSight seismometer. The University of Maryland headline proclaims, "First direct seismic measurements of Mars reveal geologically active planet." And, well, you may hope that means active magma motions and the potential of future volcanic activity. Well, it's not that exciting. The force of the local wind was sufficient to obscure seismic signals. Yes, folks, the wind is stronger than the seismology. And it was only during the still nighttime hours that the seismograph was able to detect the often multiple shakes per night. Only one magnitude 4 quake was detected, and the rest of the 450 some odd seismic events were much smaller. These weak signals weren't able to penetrate deep into Mars' crust, so we remain blind to what is deep in Mars. But at least a picture of the crust is getting slowly built. While most of the quakes couldn't be successfully identified in terms of where they came from, there were two quakes that could be tracked back to Cerberus Fossae, which is shown in this image. This long feature on Mars was carved by ancient floods and then filled with lava flows just 10 million years ago, which in geology is yesterday. This region is still settling out, and there are cracks that are found in the lava, and those cracks appear to be from quakes. While it will be interesting to watch what happens, there's no hint that volcanism or anything that exciting is expected. Mars is estimated to be more seismically active than the Moon, making it more active than expected, but Mars is not Earth. InSight was designed to study both the inside of Mars and the atmosphere. And another announcement that is likely to generate confusion is the discovery of gravity waves in Mars' atmosphere. And here is a picture of that seismograph showing the still atmosphere around the lander. Now, this is one of those times when different branches of science have given radically different and confusingly similar names. This is one of those times in science when radically different things have been given confusingly similar names. Gravity waves are just oscillations in the atmosphere that drive the formation of rolling sheets of wavy clouds you may have seen especially close to dawn or dusk. while gravitational waves are driven by massive objects and warp the space-time continuum. Gravity waves, they're just pretty. On Mars, a thin, dry atmosphere and, well, gravity waves that are smaller lead to clouds being way less common. But the InSight sensors could detect the pressure changes that come with gravity waves moving through the atmosphere. These sensitive sensors also detected the pressure and temperature changes consistent with dust devils, thousands of dust devils. But annoyingly, the cameras on InSight have failed to be able to detect any dust devils, which means that we really have atmospheric cyclones that contain no dust. The annoyance of this reality is stated beautifully by team scientist and Cornell researcher Don Banfield, who stated, "We've caught absolutely no dust devils on camera. Other landers have been able to effortlessly image dust devils, so it's surprising that we haven't even captured an image of one." This is where the importance of in situ instruments and sensors comes into play. Sensors put in place on surfaces of Mars can see things that orbiters and astronomers behind distant telescopes just can't observe. These pressure variations that don't have atmospheric phenomena, that don't have puffy clouds, that don't have dust-filled dust devils associated with them, are invisible to distant observers. It's only with these in situ sensors on the surface of Mars that we can detect any of these things. From seismic waves to gravity waves, InSight seems to be on a mission to study every possible kind of wave. And in our final story today, I'm just going to misread things. In our final story of the day, we look at magnetic fields, which deal with electromagnetic waves, just to keep the whole waves thing going. In new results from PSI's own Katherine Johnson, this is a younger, differently spelled Katherine Johnson than the one we discussed yesterday. Mars' magnetic field at InSight's location was found to be significantly stronger than anticipated, but it is still so weak that a day-to-night change they are measuring may be due to detecting magnetic fields from space that we haven't been able to detect anywhere else. Mars has no intrinsic magnetic field that is driven by an internal dynamo like we have here on Earth. Instead, it has rocks that are natural magnets and maintain a fossil record of how the magnetic field that used to exist on Mars was aligned. Different places have different amounts of the ancient magnetic rocks, and InSight is in a particularly magnetic place. Even though this location has 10 times more magnetic field than was expected, it is still only a shadow of what we see on Earth. And against this background of a local magnetic field, InSight was able to measure a nightly spike of magnetism around midnight each night. This timing leads scientists to believe the magnetic spike is coming from space. And in the future, it's hoped that InSight and the orbiting MAVEN mission will be able to make coincident observations. They'll be able to observe at the same time to try and understand the source of this midnight magnetism. And that is all the news that we have today that comes together to tell us one glorious thing. Mars, which we knew was interesting, is actually turning out to be even more interesting than we had previously thought. Here is to InSight having many more years of observations in its future, and we'll bring them to you when they are published. But that rounds out our show for today. Thank you all for listening. The Daily Space was written by me, Dr. Pamela Gay, and will be produced by Susie Murph. We are a production of the Planetary Science Institute, a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to exploring our solar system and beyond. We are here thanks to the generous contributions of people like you. You support us through your bits, your subs, your patronage on patreon.com/CosmoQuestX. Patreon is really the best way that you can help us because it allows us to effectively say thank you by sending you all sorts of different content in your inbox and giving you special access. If you're not already part of our Patreon community, please consider joining. Okay, I am now going to hang around and answer your questions. Please, as you seem to be doing so well today, remember to use that purple circle with a purple star in the center to make it easier for me to find your questions. All right, I'm going to answer our intro since it's right at the bottom. Since the Martian magnetic fields also see a spike when the solar wind picks up, could the midnight peaks also be related to the solar wind? It's unclear. We don't know. That's what's awesome about science sometimes. We just don't know. All right, I'm just going to scroll all the way up to the top. Hi, Wayne Johnson. I love watching people discover highlight text. And no, my dogs can't read. Thank you, Broken Symmetry, for the sub. Thank you, Wayne Johnson, for the bits. Oh, and the dogs know I said thank you. And they know what this means. You guys ready to steal souls? Go over there. Over there. There we go. All right. So the way we thank you around here, for those that are new, is your bits get converted to Cheerios. I don't mean to be advertising quite so profoundly. And the Cheerios go to the dogs and you get cuteness and the dogs get happy. All right. So Broken Symmetry points out that the new chair that is pictured in Dog Cam appears to be a throne that can fit at least two. So it turns out that while Eddie and I both simultaneously fit in the chair, he would rather have the chair to himself. So yes, it fits too, but Eddie does not agree. All right. It is Strove Tuesday. Enjoy it while you can. Why are you muttering about 10 shopping months until Christmas? Pancake Day, yes. It's true. Mars bars on pancakes sounds really disturbing. I'm just going to lay that out there. Looking for actual questions. So Hanny's Ververb asks, when is midnight on Mars? Well, relative to Earth, it changes about 45 minutes every day. The Martian day is about 24 hours, 45 minutes, almost 25 hours. And this means that while human beings can live on that schedule, it constantly shifts when they are relative to everyone around them that is living in our normal 24-hour day cycle. So you can look up, there's various calculators online, what time it is at the different spacecraft on Mars. It turns out the scientists during the first period of time when something lands will adjust their clock so that they're up and about the same time the solar-powered spacecraft are up and about. So yeah, it's constantly changing, but you can look it up online. Arnster asks, I already answered that. Thank you for the sub, Trekker Kev. That is more bits for doggos. Do you want this? Go over there. You have to go over there. Seriously, go over. You're not listening. All right, there. Whoa! Earthquake. Sorry. This is what happens when they don't go over there in a quiet and reserved kind of way. All right. Thank you, Trekker Kev. Annie asks, do you avoid saying thank you over the phone? Now, I just avoid the phone. I am very much not a phone user. I'm a texter. Yeah. To the tone of voice. UTC one zone to rule them all. Webcam is now peaking at the top left corner. right there. Okay. Sorry about that. Green screens don't always work as well as one would wish. I too, Kerbal, wish that Mars was geologically active. I too wish that. But we don't always get what we wish. Mars is dead. Dead, dead, dead. Dead. It can be brought temporarily back. But because it doesn't have the needed magnetic field, anything that we do is only temporary. Arnst is correct. Io is active enough for any 3 worlds. It is what it is. So do we have any other questions? As a reminder, today is Tuesday. Tomorrow is Rocket Wednesday, which will be brought to you by our own Annie Wilson, who goes by Binary Ablaze. In the evening, we will have the Weekly Space Hangout tomorrow. And I don't know, we won't. Okay, I was wrong. Apparently we won't. Oh, that's right. I'm bringing you. Yes, sometimes I need to be reminded of things. Tomorrow, I'm doing Rocket Wednesday, giving Annie a much needed day to go do the things that, well, sometimes need to get done. Thank you, Annie. We will have the Weekly Space Hangout, however. And my dog is desperately seeking a Cheerio that fell underneath a workbench. All right. Other than that, I can't think of anything I need to announce. Do we have any final questions? Eddie is now crawling to try and get a lost Cheerio. And he got it. Kudos to the dog. Kudos to the dog. All right, I'm not seeing any final questions, so I'm going to go coordinate the recording of this podcast, get myself some lunch. Ooh, Beetlejuice was a question. Beetlejuice is still a troll. It's rebrightening, which is what was predicted. Sometime in February, it would begin to ascend out of this minimum. It's going slow. It's going slow. You can't see it yet by eye necessarily unless you have really well-trained eyes. No boom. We probably have 100,000 years. We can be hopeful it will go boom sooner, but we probably have 100,000 years. It kicked off the dust. It is true, and I agree with the sniff of sadness. We need a supernova. We need something good. And a supernova in an unoccupied solar system would be good. All right. So if there is nothing else, I am going to say thank you all for being here. This has been the Daily Space. My name is Dr. Pamela Gay, and I was your host, and I wrote this episode, which will be produced by the fabulous Susie Murph. We are a product of the Planetary Science Institute, a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to exploring our solar system and beyond. We're brought to you by you. Oh, there are bits. There are bits. We are brought to you just like that. Eddie, you are wearing the camera cable. Let's see what I can do. Eddie, I know, you're totally tangled, dude.